mat has the 60-degree line, so it's nice. I lay my strip diagonally, and then I find the 60-degree line on my ruler, and align it with the bottom of the strip. Now this is a 3.5-inch strip, so I want to cut in 3.5-inch increments. So I cut through the 0, and then just 3.5. I have to do math now, so that would be 7, 10.5, 14. You do the math with me? 17.5. Now you will see 17.5 is gonna not catch that. I don't have enough strips, so it doesn't matter. However, if you have wider strips, if you see that you run out of ruler space, what you would do is just move that sliver here. You would slide your ruler upwards, have the line on the top of the strip, and then because the lines extend down here, you can make sure you're fully aligned, and then you can finish your cut. So if I could cut at 17.5, I could do that. So now we have 60-degree diamonds. The next step is I'm going to cut triangles, right? So then I'm going to turn my ruler. So you'll see there's a 60-degree line going the other direction. I'm going to turn it, and now I'm going to line it on the top of the strip. And you have a little line here to make sure you're aligned. Now, normally at home, I would just turn my mat so I can cut straight, but I don't have enough space today. So I'm going to cut this way, and you're going to cut through the same increments as you did before, 3.5-inch increments. So I am going to make my same cut, 7, 10.5, 14, right? And then you will see that we have our 60-degree triangles. And we can have a stack of a couple of strips, 3-4 strips to do that at the same time. Now, you'll notice that these have, the dog ears. So I have trimmers. Grab a pack for me. Pack of trimmers. So I want to talk about this book. So I wrote this book after the 4th and newest ruler came out because this is kind of our stripopedia. I should do this so that all of you can see. This is our stripopedia. So in here you will have introduction to the rulers, but not only that, the page is thick because it's supposed to be a reference book. It has all the charts that you need to analogize other patterns. This is your quarter-inch chart to cut quarter-inch increments, even though the ruler has half-inch increments. So it's something that you'll be using all the time. So I'm going to go to what I just did, which is over here, the 60-degree angles.
I see you.
And it shows you how to do that, but if you forget, everywhere throughout the book there is these QR codes that you can pull up your phone, you open up your camera, and they'll pop up on my face. There's going to be a link that pops up that takes you right to the video of me showing you how to do this particular technique. So I'm going to be right there with you in your sewing room. But what I wanted to show you, it has the adjustments or the conversions for you if you have a pattern. For example, that's written for a 60-degree triangle that has a blunt tip. You just have to cut them a little bit wider in the strips if you want to do it with these stripology rulers. And then I have the point trimmers to trim off your points, and everything will fit together really nicely. So this one has also other angles. So there's a 45-degree angle where you can cut your 45-degree diamonds, and then also 45-degree right triangles. So all the adjustments, when a pattern tells you to cut 7-inch square and then you cut it twice diagonally, you can instead just cut a 3.5-inch strip and cut them into triangles with your ruler. So, and then in the book, there's also just fun patterns like the jiggy here behind me to kind of practice those techniques. So this will have all of those techniques for the basic cutting, but also I love to do my half square triangles and square them up. So here's the conversion adjustment for my half square triangles. For example, I like to just size up. And so it just tells you how much larger square you have to cut than your finished triangle, half square triangle. And then I just and we square them up. And so that's where the other rulers come in. So the squared ruler is just a smaller version of the XL. It has the same length. It has the square up lines that the XL does too, to square up any size block up to 12.5 inches. How the squaring up lines work is the black lines are for when you're squaring up whole inch sizes. The white lines are for half inch sizes. So if I was squaring up a block, let's get a, these are all little pieces. Just hold one up to show you that this is pretty. So if I was going to square up something, let's say to 10 inches, I would find my 10-inch black square, because that's a whole inch. Here's my black square. I can center it on, oh, it's not even big enough. Let's say 8 inches. So I would center my 8-inch square on the fabric or on my block. Here, you have black diagonal lines to line up with seams. You have horizontal lines to line up with seams, and then you would just make a cut from 0 and 8. If you were doing half inch, you have a center line here, and the white lines come up from the middle. So 8.5 right here, you center it on. It's great for fuzzy hair too. So this one I'm going to use for anything larger. Then we have the mini version of squared, which is Mr. Bones Squared Mini, and I use that for anything smaller. So we have in here not just half square triangles, we have quarter square triangles, we have combination units. There's a technique to make 8 half square triangles at a time with no drawing, no anything like that. But then we have the most exciting part, flying geese. The flying geese technique, which is done with 2 squares. So you have your background, which is the sides of the flying geese. Fabric A and B, which is the flying geese. So 2 squares will make 4 flying